welcome to ABC Interactive English. Hello everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Winnie.
And today we are going to be reading a dialogue between a couple of people talking about some homework. When I see the word a book report, I think of the homework you would do at school where the teacher would tell you to read a book and then you have to sort of write your ideas about the book, retell the story. It's kind of homework to make sure that you did the reading.
For sure. I don't think there is a report that you do out of pleasure. Not that I know of.
Right.
Maybe some people write them for fun.
Well, I guess a book report after you leave school could become a book review. And you can put it on your book review website and
so
many people will think you're smart.
A+ students then become really talented book reviewers.
Exactly right. So if you were doing a book report now, are you reading something right now? I know you like to read.
Yes, I love reading.
Okay, can you give us a 15-second book report on your book?
Oh no, okay. Dragons, fairies, fighting, kingdoms, fire.
Wow, that was less than 15 seconds. And I'm interested in your book.
Then I did my job.
I think you did very well. Now you just have to write 500 words on the book and you will get a good mark in your English class. So let's find out all about this book report. We're going to find out who's writing it, what it's all about, and if they're going to get it finished on time. Because remember, it is homework. So let's check it out. Thomas is at Haley's door.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Mrs. Austin asked me to drop off our next assignment. How are you feeling?
I'm better. Thanks for asking. How come she asked you?
Well, we are neighbors. Here's the book for the report.
Okay, so yes, the title of our dialogue, it's very simple, a book report. This type of common homework you might get in an English class or in a Chinese class. If you're reading an important book, you write a report about it. But what exactly is a report? We should make this clear at the beginning.
Exactly. And as you said, Mike, when you see the word report, you do relate it to school or work, right? So report is our noun, and it basically just means an essay or written text or just a document that writes about a topic or event. And in most cases, let's say if you're in school, you can be writing about a book that you were maybe, I don't want to use the word forced, but encouraged to read. So, for example, you could say, I need a report on Catcher in the Rye by Friday.
Ooh, okay, that would definitely be a book report. You're right, there are so many kinds of reports that we often use another word. A news report would be a news story.
For sure, or a police report.
A police report. If something happens, you might have to go and fill out a police report about what happened, or a scientific report, all sorts of different types. But yes, here we're talking about a book report. So let's see who's writing it and what it's all about. Well, before we begin, we get an idea of what's going on here. It says Thomas is at Haley's door. Okay, so Thomas is at Haley's home, but we know if he's at her door, he's probably outside, knock, 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 ding dong, ding dong. He's trying to see if Haley is at home.
Right,
is Haley at home?
He's not inside yet.
He's not inside
so
yet. So
she could be anywhere.
She could be. She could be writing a book report at the library. Who knows?
So Haley says, hey, what are you doing here?
She's home.
She's home.
She's home.
She's home.
Okay. So she asks what he's doing here. This clearly is kind of a surprise for Haley. She doesn't expect to see her classmate there.
This wasn't scheduled.
It wasn't scheduled at all. This wasn't a planned date or meeting. And then he says, Mrs. Austin asked me to drop off our next assignment. Oh, great. He came to deliver homework. So he's asked, the teacher, this Miss Austin, has asked him to drop off our next assignment, the next little job or homework they have to do for school. And then he asks her, how are you feeling? Okay, so I think it's safe to say Haley was sick. She missed a day of school, and Thomas has been told by the teacher to come by her house and bring and to leave the homework that Haley needs to do for school tomorrow if she's healthy enough to go back.
So in my head, it started off as kind of a romantic gesture. It's not.
Well, he might have flowers along with homework or a box of chocolate, but I don't think so.
No.
He's only here to drop off homework, nothing fun or tasty. Drop off means I bring something to you and then I leave it there. You might be there to take it from me. I might put it through your mailbox. I might leave it in front of your door with a little note. Hey, Merry Christmas. I'll catch you next time.
Or you could drop off your kids at school.
Or you can drop people off, absolutely. If you have a friend with a car, they might be nice enough to drop you off at the airport. That generally means they'll bring you there. They won't stop and get out of the car. They'll just let you out. You say goodbye. They drive away. Or someone brings something to your house, maybe rings the doorbell, maybe talks to you, or maybe just leaves it there.
Right, it's a quick interaction. And then we know that he is bringing her, he's dropping off an assignment. Okay, and so just now we were kind of talking about the word assignment when we were describing report. And that's because they're very similar, except when we're talking about an assignment, our verb to assign something means someone, usually a teacher or maybe a boss, is assigning you work. They're giving you work that needs to be done. So it is a task or something that needs to get done.
Exactly right. We have other words. We could also say a project or a task or something like that. But yeah, someone in power tells you, do this, and that is your assignment. All right, so what does Haley say after getting this lovely gift of homework?
Homework, yeah. Well, she goes, I'm better. Thanks for asking. How come she asked you? So him asking her, how are you feeling? And she's saying, I'm better.
Polite.
Yes, and it's not like he's saying, how are you? It means something happened to Haley. So clearly she was sick or she just wasn't able to go to school. That is why Thomas is dropping off this assignment. So she says, thanks for asking. How come she asked you? So she's a little bit surprised. She's kind of confused. You know, Thomas, who are you? Maybe they don't know each other.
Right. I mean, if they were like best friends in class, she wouldn't be surprised, maybe. But here's just a guy from the class. Why, Thomas? Why are you here bringing me homework? Well, Thomas has a fairly logical explanation. He says, well, we are neighbors. So they live near each other. The teacher probably knows this. So the teacher said, hey, Thomas, Haley's house is just, around the corner from yours. It's closest to you. Of all the students, please take her the homework. So that makes sense. So, well, we are neighbors. Here's the book for the report. So he's, of course, told her what she needs to do, which is to read a book. But to read the book, she needs a book. So he also has that and he gives that to her. And this, of course, yes, is her neighbor, Thomas. He's a classmate of hers. They go to the same school. They study in the same class, but he is also her neighbor. That just means someone who lives close to you in your neighborhood. A neighborhood, of course, is a smaller area of the city around where you live. And so if that is a person who lives around where you live, maybe in the same building, across the street, around the corner, even a few streets away, they would be your neighbor. They live nearby you.
Yes. So hopefully Haley is touched by this.
Yeah?
Because he's still going out of his way, but I guess we'll have to see after the break.
All right.
Wow. How old is this book? I never heard of it or the writer before.
It's from 1960. It looks interesting.
So, how many words does the report have to have? And how long do I have to finish it?
It must be 500 words, and you have 3 weeks.
Welcome back from the break. As we saw before, Haley wasn't feeling so well or something prevented her from going to school. And then she missed out on a report or assignment.
Darn.
But Mrs. Austin was 10 steps ahead of her. You know, she thought maybe I can get away with this, but she said, nope. because I know Thomas is your neighbor. And so he hand-delivered, dropped off an assignment for her.
Wow, so lucky. Thank you, Thomas, my classmate. That's great. Anyway, so he gave her the assignment, which is to write a book report, but he also gave her the book. So this is clearly something that is new in the class. The first day they did it, so Haley has to get that book to read it, to then do the book report. But as she looks at the book that Thomas gives to her, she has some questions.
Yeah, so Haley says, wow, how old is this book? I never heard of it or the writer before. So clearly, Haley has never seen this book before, so definitely she's never read it, which means she's gonna have to start from page 1, read the book, then write the assignment.
So it's probably not a Harry Potter or a Hunger Games or anything, it's probably really old.
Yeah, she's asking how old is it?
Yeah,
So.
she's never heard of it, never seen the title, doesn't know the name of the writer either. A writer is someone who writes. That's exactly right. Now, of course, if you're sitting down saying milk, eggs, bread, if you're writing a list to go shopping, you're not really a writer. When we use this word, we're generally talking about someone who writes as their job. That's what they do. It's their living.
They get published.
They get published. Now, you could be a newspaper writer, a magazine writer. You could be a writer who has a blog that's very popular and successful. But the point is, you're making money from doing this. And often, when we see the word writer especially, we're thinking of a book writer.
Yeah,
we might
an
also
author.
call them an author. If it's for news or magazines, we might say reporter or journalist or something like that. But a writer generally is someone who makes their living, makes their money by writing, probably books and things like that. So here's this writer, obviously not one that Haley is familiar with, quite old. Let's find out how old this book and the writer are. It says it, meaning the book, it's from 1960. Okay, so many years before Haley was born.
For sure, yeah.
I guess that's not surprising. She's never heard of the person. It's from 1960. It looks interesting, says Thomas. So maybe he's just started it, or maybe he just read the bit on the back that kind of tells you the basic story.
Right.
Sometimes we call that the blurb.
Or sometimes people judge a book by their cover.
They sometimes do. It has dragons fighting dinosaurs with lasers. He's like, this looks interesting. Who knows? Or maybe it's just a cool title, you know?
Yes. And so what is the word interesting, right? Okay, so that's our adjective, and it basically just means when something is interesting, that it means it's not typical, okay? It is not what you usually see, and we have our verb interest, right? So it interests you. That's when something grabs your attention, okay? You know, you might not feel good or bad about it. You're just thinking, hey, that's not what I normally see. And so Thomas is saying, well, this book, you know, maybe he doesn't read a lot, or maybe he hasn't read those types of books before, so he finds it interesting. So then Haley says, so how many words does the report have to have? And how long do I have to finish it?
Straight to the point.
Yeah, she's saying, I still feel sick. Can you just drop off the book? Let's go.
I don't care if the book's interesting. What do I have to do to finish the homework part? Well, of course, first of all, she has to read the book.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually the big part that will take the most time.
I'm surprised she didn't ask how long is the book.
That's what I thought she was talking about. But no, she can see, I guess. She can kind of flip through, okay, 350 pages. But she wants to know the important stuff, which is the homework, the book report, the assignment. How much do I have to write to do that?
Yeah.
Well, it's not really super good news. Thomas says it must be 500 words. Okay, you know, that's about 5 pages of writing or so, 4 or 5 pages. But here it's not so bad. He says it must be 500 words and you have 3 weeks. Now, if it was 500 words for tomorrow, that's going to be annoying.
But 3 weeks. She still has to read the book.
She still has to read the book, that's true. And if it's 9,000 pages or even 900 pages, that could take a while.
Also, she has other schoolwork.
And she's... I think she's starting to feel sick again.
Yeah.
I think maybe she'll have to skip tomorrow and stay at home and read the book. We'll see. Well, actually, we won't see because that's the end of the dialogue. So good luck, Haley. I hope the book is worth all the trouble.
And thank you, Thomas.
And thank you, Thomas.
Yeah.
That's right, for bringing me my homework. What a nice guy. All right, we're going to have another dialogue for you tomorrow. So enjoy your reading and your homework if you have some tonight. And please do come back and join us tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thomas is at Haley's door.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Mrs. Austin asked me to drop off our next assignment. How are you feeling?
I'm better. Thanks for asking. How come she asked you?
Well, we are neighbors. Here's the book for the report.
Wow. How old is this book? I never heard of it or the writer before.
It's from 1960. It looks interesting.
So, how many words does the report have to have? And how long do I have to finish it?
It must be 500 words, and you have 3 weeks.
Hello, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 report 名词报告。We have to finish this report by Friday. 我们必须在周五前完成这份报告。下一个单字 neighbor 名词邻居。The new neighbor moved in last week. 新邻居是上周搬进来的。下一个单字 writer 名词作家。Do you like the writer's new book? 你喜欢这位作家的新书吗？最后一个单字 interesting 形容词有趣的。Vincent has a lot of interesting comic books. Vincent 有许多有趣的漫画书。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 drop off 把什么送带到哪里，这是一个口语用法，受词可以是物或者是人。Drop 指的是送带什么到某个地方。我们来看看这个例句。I will drop off the package at your house. 我会把包裹送到你家。下一个文法 Thanks for 加 VING 感谢你做某事，意思相同于 Thank you for 怎么样，它的后面可以接动名词或者是名词。我们先来看看接动名词的例句。Thank you for inviting me to the party. 谢谢你邀请我来这个派对。我们再来看看接名词的例句。Thank you for your patience. 谢谢你的耐心。Patience 指的是耐心。最后一个文法 A hears of B. A 听说 B. Hear 的意思是听说得知，它的三态是 hear, heard. 我们来看看这个例句。I have heard of that restaurant before. 我之前就听过那间餐厅了。以上就是这一课的重点单词跟文法，我们下一课再见喽，拜拜。
Hey, you look busy. What are you doing?
I have to present in front of the board tomorrow. I'm terrified.
Oh, you'll do great. Just bite the bullet and go for it.
Bite the bullet? How is biting a bullet supposed to help me?
No, it just means to face the problem bravely, even if it's tough.
I see. But I'm still so nervous.
Well, you have your presentation here, right? Why don't we go over it? You'll do much better if you feel confident.
Really? I think that's a great idea. Hello everyone! In today's session, we will be discussing the phrase bite the bullet.
Right. Bite the bullet is an idiom that means to endure a painful or unpleasant situation that is often unavoidable.
The phrase is believed to have originated from the battlefield, where soldiers had to undergo surgery without anesthesia and would bite on a bullet to cope with the pain.
Ouch! Thankfully, we don't have to do that anymore. Nowadays, we use this phrase to describe facing a tough situation with courage.
For example, you might say, I finally bit the bullet and scheduled that dentist appointment I've been avoiding.
Oh boy, I don't like the dentist.
Me neither.
Or she was nervous about the big speech, but she decided to bite the bullet and gave it her best shot.
Remember, it's all about facing challenges and not running away from them.
Absolutely. So next time you're in a tough spot, remember to bite the bullet and push through. You might surprise yourself with what you can endure.
And that's all for today.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.